All right, this Colfax City Council meeting of February 12th is now in session. Mr. Anderson, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you take roll call, please?
Councilmember Burris. Present. Councilmember Douglas.
Present.
Councilmember Hilberg.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McCauley.
Here.
Mayor Loman.
Here, remotely.
All right. May I have a motion to approve our agenda order?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Did you want a roll call for everything or just the important stuff?
If he's participating.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure. Okay. Agenda order has been improved. Our statement of conflict of interest. Do we have any new conflicts of interest for anybody?
No change.
No change? All
No
right.
change.
All right, fantastic. Our consent calendar, all items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be approved in one blanket motion with a council vote unless council member or member of the public request an item to be pulled from consent for discussion. Items pulled will be addressed after council completes the consent calendar vote and will require a separate motion. Are there any items that we'd like to pull?
I'd like to pull item 2D.
2D? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve without 2D?
I'll move approval with the exception of item 2D.
Okay, all in favor?
Oh,
Aye. Aye.
Okay,
okay.
all right, then 2D.
All right.
Is that the one you wanted to pull?
What I have on my agenda here is not matching what's on the screen there.
City project report would be what 2D is.
I have a completely different agenda. This is also February 12th. This one shows 2D as council
Yeah.
committee assignments. Okay, just wanted to make sure that I was pulling the right item.
Okay, so you want to pull,
I would like to pull what I believe is 2D, which is council committee assignments.
okay. All right. I'm gonna go that way. That one. And,
Is
okay,
that-
yeah, so this,
agenda-
yeah, so this one isn't, this one's different than what you had, so
Okay,
you're good. Okay, so we are pulling 2D, which is committee assignments. Okay. Dan, now that we know what we're actually pulling, because obviously this one is not correct. Okay, and we all approved that and it passed, right? Okay, so then 2D, what would you like to?
well, I'd like to walk through the actual content of 2D, but the problem I'm having, and it looks like it's not just a internet related issue, but when I try to pull a copy of the agenda packet off of the city website, it's failing to load the PDF for some reason.
Is this what you want?
The website has been having some problems. We have notified IT.
Okay, so because I couldn't load it before the meeting, I needed to do that. I wasn't loading on the email server either. So I wanted to make sure that we had the correct assignments before I tried to vote on that one. So I apologize for asking to review council material in the middle of the meeting. That's not normal.
I think the only thing we changed was Sean went to LAFCO
Yes.
and then technically.
And then we made the official switch on SACOG.
Yeah, because we did that last time. And then on the next page, oops, sorry. See, I suck at these things. I hate laptops. And we have officially put the Mountain Control Air Basin on there, which I'm on because I'm already
Beautiful.
doing that. And I think
That was the only
I
change.
think that, yeah, I think that was the only change. Yeah, it was LAFCO and then the Mountain Basin. Everything else,
Pretty much
It stayed the same.
Okay, okay.
we
I'm
good?
just visually taking a look.
Yeah,
I'm so
go for it.
sorry.
No, do it. Do what you want.
PCTPA is on the next page.
That's a good question.
It's on the first page.
This is on the first.
And Councilmember Burris, just to clarify, this was approved at the last meeting. The only change is assigning Councilmember McCauley to the Mountain County's Airbase Control Council. That's the only thing.
Okay.
That's the only change from last
Understood,
meeting.
but I am not, and I'm just being thorough before we officially complete it, because I, again, did not review it before the meeting, apologies.
And that was the first page. There's not one above it, right?
No, that's the whole document, maybe there's another. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there
There
is.
it is.
There you go.
Yep, okay, all right,
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
sorry, I'm ready
Okay.
to proceed after public comment, thank you.
Okay, do we have any public comment on this item? This is just our committee assignments. Nope. Okay, can I have a motion then to approve 2D, the committee assignments?
Move approval of item 2D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Fantastic. All right, we'll start with agency reports then. Placer County Sheriff, please.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Sergeant Williams, Placer County Sheriff's Office. Just go over a little bit from last month, the month of January. We had 102 total incidents in the city of Colfax. 62 of them were deputy initiated, so a lot of proactive contacts between traffic stops and subject stops throughout the city. Let's see, 13 suspicious activities calls, 4 transient related calls. Again, most of those are those folks coming through, sounds like anyway, coming through the railroads and making their way down the hill a little bit. Otherwise, we're just prepping up for the next storm. My partner at CHP says a lot of snow up over the summit, lots of rain down closer to here and then farther down the hill. So, but wait to see what happens. So I've got nothing else.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
CHP.
Hello, good evening, council, everybody. Officer Jason Lyman, Gold Run CHP, Public Information Officer. I got a few statistics for you here from last month. We issued a total of 550 citations and 336 warnings. We had 237 motorist services for, people broke down and stuff on the side of the road. Had 7 arrests, 4 of them were for DUI, and a total of 25 collisions. Thankfully, only 3 of them were injury collisions and the other 22 were just property damage only. Yeah, we do have another round of snow coming in this evening through the first part of the weekend. They are anticipating a pretty fair amount. It looks like it's not going to be snowing all the way down to here, but probably, into the Alta Drum 4 Bay area. And then there will be definitely a lot of rain down here. It also is predicted to be pretty windy. So up over the summit, when it's really windy and they're saying 3 to 4 feet of snow in the next couple of days, it is very possible that the freeway will be shut down because Caltrans just can't keep up with it when it's drifting across the freeways and stuff like that. So as we all know, that's a problem down here at Colfax. When that happens, we try to avoid that as much as possible, but we have to do what we have to do. We do have a few extra people on schedule to work for the storm, and we are staffed pretty well right now. I know Caltrans is preparing as best they can with all their extra staffing and equipment that they can, so to do their best to try to keep everything moving the best we can. Anybody have any questions for me?
I do. That first number you put out was 500 and
550.
that seems higher to me. I mean,
Yes.
I don't have all the other months.
Yeah,
to look at.
it's a lot higher. We have
Good.
just recently gotten several extra officers to our office, and they're out there making a lot of friends.
Okay,
So-
I thought so. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I see
Yeah.
people
And
pulled
in
over often.
January, it was clear all month. We had very little weather to inhibit anything, so it was, open season out there. Yeah. All right, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have a plan for like the Norton Grange area when you guys do it?
We do, but it usually, just to be honest with you, it usually doesn't work out because when it's closed, we've got people trying to man as many spots as we can, and Norton Grade is one of the last ones that gets covered. And I know, all the locals know how to drive up and around, and then that's why they have to have a camper set up down here, and they have to have another one set up by Drum 4 Bay, because once you get past that, there is no side roads. So we have to have double duty because if people would just follow directions and do what they're supposed to, it would be very smooth, but we all know that's not going to happen. So it takes, a lot more manpower to cover multiple spots, but that is on our radar, and we do try to do that. And a lot of times we get some help from the sheriff's department setting up there, and Caltrans tries putting up, barriers and stuff, but people don't always follow the rules as they should. Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cal Fire.
Good evening, Clint Sievert, Battalion Chief for Placer County Fire. Locally, we have had 4 vegetation fires, 2 structure fires, 1 vehicle fire, and 10 traffic collisions, along with responding to 34 medical aids here in the Colfax area. We have had some pretty significant activity with our Placer County Technical Rescue Team. It was all over the news. There's a mine shaft rescue that was down in Auburn. We were part of that. So that was all successful and those people were extricated out. They have been training locally on the North Fork American River for raft training, because they do that as well. And that's in preparation for the spring, this coming spring. They have quite a few rescues down there. So they did do a raft trip on Tuesday, and they're doing another one tomorrow, believe it or not, with the storm going on. That'll be in the morning hours, but they will be trained and ready for anything they get this spring as far as technical rescues down there in the river. Locally, with all the engines that are being hired early, which we've never had before, we are doing a large burn operation that will be every Tuesday and Thursday for the next few weeks down the Burnt Flat area, and that's the North Fork Shaded Fuel Break, to continue that project and try to capture a lot of those piles that were left out there last couple of years. So we are diligently working on getting that project finished so we can move forward with phase 2 and 3. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any of our nonprofits that wish to make a report this evening?
Hi, Erin Newington with the Historic Colfax Downtown Association. I just wanted to give you an update on a community meeting that we had in January. Super grateful for the amount of people that turned out. We had a pretty mixed room of nonprofit organizations, business owners, residents, and building owners. So that was super cool. There was definitely a positive spirit in the room, which I totally appreciated. A lot of people excited to plan some pretty fantastic events. We had some conversation about signature events and big events and what that looks like to the downtown businesses. And we really wanted to focus as a group, I think, as the consensus I have, on micro events, something smaller events that don't shut the street down as often. And so there was a lot of discussion of what that could look like. We had a lively discussion about what's working in Colfax. And that really was the focus of the meeting, which I totally appreciated. And we just looked at identifying what was working and how we could build on that. So it was great. And we're probably going to have another meeting, or we are going to have another meeting later this month to continue the discussion.
Thank you.
On that note, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Okay, hold on, Erin. We have a question for you.
So it's partly for you and then partly for our city attorney. So one of the restrictions as council members that just is really unfortunate under the Brown Act is when these kind of meetings happen and we all want to participate, we all want to go, there's some restriction about the level of participation we can have or whether or not we can all show up at the same time.
Didn't know that.
And so I wasn't able to go to the meeting because I had no idea. I assumed Carolyn was going, and I made some assumptions that there were potentially 1 or 2 other council members interested in going. And I'd really like to have the flexibility to show up. So my question's twofold. I'm gonna ask him a question and I would like to know if you buy into the idea, if there's a willingness there. Is there any opportunity that we could potentially work with them to publicly notice those meetings so that council members have the ability to show up?
I think another way to look at it might be, there are some exceptions under the Brown Act for participating in nonprofit organizations, quorum of the council participating, as long as they don't discuss council business with each other. I'm not sure if that would meet your need, but yeah, I can absolutely look into.
The nature of this nonprofit makes it very hard to untangle that relationship.
I see. Okay.
So I think that if we could look into that and if you guys
Yeah.
would be open to us publicly noticing those meetings, which honestly is just going to broadcast the meeting even further for the most
I
part.
think it's great.
I would really appreciate that. And it's not a guarantee, but if we could look into it, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I guess I would have to think through whether it would be the council, the city council calling a special meeting.
I considered a
to discuss
workshop.
this.
Yeah.
I think a workshop would be the.
Oh,
what we would
okay.
consider.
They'd be workshops because we wouldn't be taking any policy action or finalizing or voting or making any kind of decisions.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
just publishing
Yeah.
notice of a council workshop kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because it's
Okay.
one of the things Erin and I discussed. I told her that if two others showed up, then I was happy to leave because I, of course, knew more of what she was doing.
Right.
And that would allow other council members to be able to be there. So. we
And
had
on
a-
that same note, you're highly involved with it and I don't want to in any way make that so you're having to step back from something you've been a driver on. I just want to
Mhm.
make sure that, we align with the public appearance of council members not showing up with a reason.
Yeah.
And then also kind of break down that barrier so we can show up and support and be part of it.
So would the meeting be held by the council or would you would just be able to attend and have more of a conversation?
It just means that there would be able to be more than two of us there
Yeah.
and be able to participate.
And share ideas.
And we could actually be able to participate and have conversations because then it's publicly noticed that, like I said, if we do it as a workshop, it allows us to have dialogue back and forth because we're not making any decisions. We're just brainstorming basically, but.
Yeah.
Because
I
if it's
think-
not noticed and she shares an idea there and two of us hear it, we have now we've now potentially violated the Brown Act. So
Right.
we can't have spoken wheel conversations or it's really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
It can be.
And we view our organization as a neutral body that's here to support obviously the city and all the different organizations, nonprofits in the area and the business owners. And so we're happy to continue to facilitate that conversation. And we think it really was a positive meeting. And I feel like we accomplished quite a bit and sparked a lot of enthusiasm in the right direction, I would say. Not that I know it's right, but based on what the crowd was discussing seemed to be the right way that everyone wanted to go. So I'd love to continue that conversation.
Fantastic. So yeah, if you
Thank
can
you.
look into that, Connor. and
Just
find
let
out-
us know.
Yeah, could do a workshop
Yeah,
or what we need to do.
It could be challenging, I know, but whatever you find out.
No, I'll provide you a memo and recommend some procedures for how you can participate. under
Thank
the
you.
Brown Act.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
I think part of that means putting a sign up, right?
Mhm.
A physical sign at the site.
Yes.
You would have to go through the procedures for one of these meetings. You'd have to post an agenda, give people advance notice, all of those sorts of things. But
Okay,
I can lay it out. I
Which
can
to
lay
your
the procedures out.
comfort, when you run a workshop, all you have to say on the agenda is public workshop. So it makes it easy. And then we
But
just
I
say
just
your,
want to make sure that we're still controlling the agenda and,
yeah.
okay, cool. All right.
Do we have any other nonprofits here this evening? I don't think so. All right, so we do not have any presentations or public hearings this evening. So we will move on to public comment. This is a chance for all of our residents to come up and speak on anything that pertains to Colfax and anything we can do. If you would like to come up, please do so. Make sure the green button's on your podium and do let us know who you are. Do we have any public comment this evening? For items not on the agenda. There we go.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here as always. I got a couple of things I wanted to discuss. First thing on my list is the water that's coming across Culver Street. We had that road redone, 2 years ago? And there's water just coming across. They didn't put in drainage. They didn't put in ditches. And that is just going to tear that road all to pieces in no time. So I wanted to bring that to the city council's attention. See if the engineers have a solution to it. I know the city paid a lot of money to have that done. I know there were engineers out there. I saw the survey crews. And that water's been flowing for all week and it hasn't rained, in a few days. And if it does freeze, it's going to be a big black ice thing. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention and get it on the record. Excuse me. I don't know if we followed up on porta potties in town, if they closed the freeway in Colfax. We discussed that in the past, and I think I brought it up a couple of meetings ago, but CHP was just talking about closing it down, and I don't know, Caltrans should do something. They used to line up porta potties from Applegate down the hill like every 100 yards or so and just leave them there all winter long because that's where they usually stop the traffic. And now they seem to stop it in Colfax. So they should do the same for us that they did for the people in Applegate. The hotel's still sitting there. Nothing's happening. I'd like to see the city get aggressive with the owners and force them to do something or sell it. I don't know if they're paying for their sewer system or not. I don't know if that's been suspended. I think it has been. Maybe by, taking that away from them and making them start paying their sewer bills would prod them to do something. But enough's enough. I moved here in 1980 and there it sits. And my last item is chickens. And I think you know what I mean. We have a chicken ordinance here and there's no enforcement of it. And I'd like to see some enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, never done this before, but my concern is there's a tree across from the recycling bin. And one of the limbs is like starting to hang over the road there. And it's a pine tree that is a V, so that's two coming off and it's very dangerous. I was wondering if that could get cut down. And my other concern is in the recycling bin, they put those cement blocks for, thanks for like vegetables and stuff I think that's what that's for. You guys spent $30,000 on it. What's that for?
That area will house a compost for a free compost giveaway to the community once springtime comes and the growing season starts.
So compost, so you're just gonna put like manure and stuff in?
No, it'd be compost material, pre-made and trucked in.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I thought it was for us to do and I thought
No,
there'll
no,
just be rodents coming in to eat it. So, okay.
Nope.
That's my
It'd be
concern.
just be ready for you to pick up and take home for your garden.
All right, great. Thank you.
For the record.
Yes. Renee.
Do we have any other public comment this evening? Does not appear so. Okay. Council and staff reports, committee reports. Would you like to start, Mr. Hilberg? But either one, we're going to mix it up. We're going to go backwards.
I have nothing to report. Basically canceled meetings. I attended the coffee conversation.
I attended the coffee and conversation. A reminder, everybody's invited, 8 to 9, free coffee, free donuts at the train depot first Thursday of every month. And it's a good way to meet and greet and come up with ideas. Also, I went to a seminar a couple of meetings ago. We talked about putting a sign out on West Church Street near Dr. Fox's office. We were talking about striping or signs or anyhow. This is a company that makes digital signs for that reason. And when that conversation comes up again, I'll pull this out and we can discuss it. So we have something to go on. Thank you.
Kind of with Larry as far as committees having a lot of canceled meetings. Gotta love that really early, slow roll into the new year. With that being said, I had a couple of just ad hoc conversations / meetings with some of the business owners on Main Street. And it does sound like there has been a lot more modification to understanding about, you know, some of the willingness with the outdoor dining and in general, what I had heard, which I'm open to correction if anybody, you know, intended to communicate something different from what I understood. But my understanding is that if we are to basically form a fence around the entire perimeter, rather than putting, you know, additional parking spots, there's a lot of openness to that. So I was hoping we could maybe go to the order, follow up on when we're scheduling a public workshop. And then, you know, just kind of get that rolling so that we can get materials ordered and really get that area cleaned up. So that's really the only thing I had to report on is that there seems to be progress among the business owners towards a unified goal, which is great. And that's all I had.
Let's see, I got to attend a FEMA incident command training down in Auburn. That was interesting, without a doubt. It's been a long time since I've sat in a classroom. The first one, does that help you? I don't remember the official name of it. It's already been happened and done, so my brain has already turned that part off. It was just yeah, that's all I put in that one. It was the general one, yeah. Sorry, I'd have to go back to the email to give you the full title name of it. Like I said, it happened, it's out of the brain already. We had a budget meeting here at the office. I did get to go to the downtown meeting that Aaron's group held, and we had a skate park meeting as well. Their design is just about done and ready to bring to the council with their proposal. We had SACOG on Monday and a flood control meeting on Monday. So I've been around and in my car a whole lot this week. So that is it. All right, Ron, it is your show now. Oh, yep. Sean, do you have anything to add to us? I keep forgetting he's up there.
That's okay. Thank you for attending the flood control meeting for me while I was gone. I attended the skate park meeting. We're making good progress. I can't wait to see the final design before council. Other than that, I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I met with Matt Anderson, our chief plant operator at wastewater treatment plant, which is here also to discuss items 8A and 8B later on. We discussed the supervisor control and acquisition data system, or SCADA. That's coming along nicely now. And we talked about the algae upgrade project, which was ran through some startup procedures, but they ran into some hiccups. So they'll be working through that before that project can come online. I attended a meeting with the skate park development team to discuss the site plans. They're about 90% complete now. I also inspected the storm drain cover in the turn lane of South Auburn and Whitcomb over the heavy rain weekend 2 weeks ago to make sure that that was still functioning correctly after that repair has been done, and it had been. Our city maintenance team has been very busy. They've replaced or repaired the lights in Roy Tom's area and around the depot and museum area. They've been busy filling potholes and clearing storm drains throughout the city with all that bad weather we've had. They performed some repair work to secure the awnings along the North Main Street there that were blowing up during the Christmas festival. And they performed some brush clearing on a hillside leading up to the splash pad. So when you're up there now, you can get a great view of the city from right there. Also, I've been doing some work on the roundabout signs. We found the metal for them, working with Harry Anderson I've sent him the images, and he's going to send me back a price about getting the images on there so we can finish putting that back together. As far as the outdoor dining area, Councilman Coley gave me some renditions today. I've been waiting for those so I could put together a meeting so we can all discuss that. I've also put together some ideas of what the fencing would cost, and then I'll get the ideas from the table and some of the other costs from her before we start that. So probably in a few weeks, we'll be having a meeting with everybody so we can discuss that. for.
So just to clarify, railroad days and you are coordinating. Just want to make sure that we're,
Oh, sorry, railroad days, yes.
yes, not Councilmember McCauley, Officer of Railroad Days.
The officer
McCauley.
of railroad days / Councilman, it's kind
There you
of,
go.
bring those over to me.
I know it's a trigger word when you use council member at the wrong time in a meeting. Thank you.
Hey, Ron, I want to thank you. There's a multiple page. I guess you all did it as a staff, but several pages of all the different things that the staff has done in the last month. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's quite a list. You can get an idea how busy staff is in
Yeah,
the city.
really. Thanks for that.
You bet.
All right, moving on to council business. Our first item on the council business tonight is our settlement agreement and stipulation for entry of administrative civil liability order for the wastewater treatment plant equipment purchase. City manager, can you please introduce this item?
Okay, so again, Matt Anderson, our chief plant operator of wastewater treatment facility, Matt, if you go up to the podium, please, is here tonight to discuss the city's plan to offset paying monetary fines to the state by offsetting the dollar amount with purchases of additional equipment of either of equal or greater value of the discharge violations. Matt, go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody a little about yourself, and then go on to the.
Hey, my name is Matt Anderson. I'm the CPO at the wastewater treatment plant. It's on, right? It is. I've been in wastewater for 22 years. I've worked at several different plants, several different processes. Going forward, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you guys tonight. I have a lot of information that's here, so I'm just going to read off of this. So the city's strategic approach to addressing potential monetary fines imposed by the state for discharge violations. As you may know, the wastewater treatment facilities are subject to strict regulations to ensure that we protect public health and environment. From time to time, operational changes can result in discharge violations which comes from significant monetary fines from the state. While we are committed to maintaining compliance, unexpected situations can occur despite our best efforts. To mitigate financial impact of these fines, the city has developed a proactive and practical solution. Instead of simply paying monetary fines, we plan to offset those fines by investing in additional equipment that will improve the performance of our facility and help prevent the future violations. So long-term operational improvements to the city's wastewater plant. We're going to be purchasing, or we'd like to purchase more high-tech equipment. We plan to enhance the treatment process, making it more efficient and resilient to unexpected challenges. This investment will strengthen our ability to comply with regulatory requirements moving forward. Cost-effective solutions using funds to invest in equipment rather than paying fines directly allows us to make meaningful improvements that will have a lasting impact on our operations and reduce the likelihood of future fines. Environmental impacts. Upgraded equipment will enhance our facility's ability to treat wastewater effectively, which in turn protects our local water bodies and ecosystems. Community benefit, improved wastewater treatment processes contribute to public health and environmental sustainability, which are priorities for the city and its residents. We are currently evaluating specific equipment that will provide the greatest benefit of our operations and ensure compliance with the state regulations. My team and the city are focused on identifying technology that offer both immediate and long-term value. This approach demonstrates the city's commitment to reasonable and forward-thinking management of its resources and infrastructure. Rather than viewing regulatory fines as a sunk cost, we are turning this challenge into an opportunity to invest in improvements that will benefit our community for years to come. I want to thank the council members for letting me present that. Any questions?
I do. I'm wondering how much of what we're doing could be considered just deferred maintenance? I mean, you talked in the right way, I think, which is going forward is all that matters, but I'm just wondering.
So you're wondering if the stuff that we're doing is because we deferred maintenance?
Yeah.
Not really. So what I've come up with for the plan is an air monitoring system and nitrate system. So when we have a better control of our air, our process works better, which reduces any violations going out of the plant. Currently, we have some liability from past violations because of the fact that we haven't been able to monitor air. I only have 1 DO meter out at the plant. My proposal is to get 6. So I'm actually bumping up the enhanced technology out there to where we will actually be able to monitor locations of the plant in several different areas. And then our nitrate meter will actually tell us if we're fully nitrifying the process to where we won't have nitrate problems or ammonia problems anymore. So deferred maintenance it's not really from deferred maintenance. It's just going into the next stage of technology with the plant.
Thank you.
Well, and if I can clarify, this particular subject matter has nothing to do with the deferred maintenance.
No.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a two-part question, I would say, Larry, because the deferred maintenance would be a whole other conversation versus what we're discussing on this particular item here.
Yeah.
I think I understand what Larry's,
Yeah.
like, the root of his question though is, are these advancements we should have made already? And I think that there's, a little bit of truth to that, but then there's also some innovative thinking on our staff's part that's really bringing us ahead so that we can get ahead of the problems rather than constantly playing catch up.
Yes, with going off of what you just said, should this have been done years ago? Absolutely. With the lack of knowledge of technology and with the lack of knowledge of process, it hasn't been done at this plant. My experience of the last 22 years is technology is our friend. We can use it or we cannot. So with this plant and the way that the plant is set up and how tiny it is, we need every meter that we possibly can, because if something happens to that plant, it's instant. We don't have the time or the capacity to hold off something that could potentially cause a fine or a violation. So the sooner I find out about it, the sooner I can fix it and we avoid monetary fines from the state.
Appreciate your mind for that.
And just to be clear, all this new equipment will be tied into the new SCADA system as well. So it will be monitored 24/7. And if there is a problem, then the operators would be contacted through the SCADA system and be able to make changes.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments from the public on this matter? Yep. Yeah, that's right. We got to have Tom. Tom knows his stuff.
I want to stay up here, I think. I'm Tom, by the way. I operated the plant 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
When they built it. So one of the problems I had when I was operating the plant, one of the problems I had was not having a council that would listen to me. I don't see that here. We had a lot of issues when that plant started up, and one of them is we did put in DO control, but just in one of the basins. So are you putting DO around both of the aeration basins?
I'll have 4 DO meters in the aeration basin and then 2 DO meters in the SBRs.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then the nitrate meter
We'll
is
go at the end of the aeration basin.
end of the aeration basin. So when I was operating the plant, it was suggested, we had a brewery in town that would dump and we'd catch them dumping. And so they would dump in the middle of the night during low flows, not knowing that my nephew worked for them, and I'd get like a text message, here it comes. But we were discussing like a ammonia meter at the influent to catch something like that. It's just a thought, just kind of jumped in my brain because we were talking about doing that years ago and just, council didn't want to do it. And so for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's phase like 3.
That's phase.
Yeah, I already have plans for the pH and a bunch of other meters for the plant.
You see that? Okay. Let me look at my notes here real quick. So violations are just part of the business. When I started working at the plant, they looked back like 3, or I think it was like 5 years, and the city had 45 chlorine violations in a row. And, nobody cared about it or fixed it or attempted to fix it. The idea that, we'll just use the fines to build the new plant, which we did, but that's still not right. We want to put clean water down the creek. And the algae removal system, there's very little algae this time of year. Basically it's going to be for the summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we really won't know if that works until then. And my last thing is trust your operator. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay. Thank you, Matt. If we do not have any other questions, may I have a motion from the council?
All right, to clarify, are we taking one item at a time?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I would go ahead and move that we, oh, what, my brain just shut down. I'm moving that we accept staff's recommendation as it is in the report on this item.
Works. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Did you want a roll call on this one since we're taking action? Yes, sorry. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Burris,
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hilberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCauley,
Aye.
Mayor Loman.
I heard an aye, but it was very quiet.
We heard it. Awesome. Okay. And we have passed. All right, item 8B. It's the purchase of filter panels for filtration unit at the wastewater treatment plant. All right, back to Matt.
So the city's facility currently has two disc filters that are basically membrane filters. They filter down to 10 microns and have a max flow of about 1 million gallons. Using these filters helps us take out solids out before it goes to our UV system and then out. Without these filters, we would have mass violations on coliform, nitrates, ammonias, like you name it, it would be there. Going forward, manufacturer's recommendation is every 5 years we replace the filters. It's been 13 years since we've replaced these screens. And at the plant currently, I have 184 failed screens. So going forward, like just with this, it's sole sourcing this to Veolia because it is their system. Nobody makes aftermarket parts for these. It is just Veolia because it's a patented product. With sole sourcing, it's an assured fit. Everything that they send us is for that unit, designed for that unit, and will work for that unit. And then I could do a cost breakdown for you, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's been 13 years since those filter membranes have been replaced.
Do we have any questions from the public on this item? Right.
Comment.
Go right ahead, Tom.
Might as well just give you a chair right.
Good one.
I'm sorry, I'm more venting than anything else. It was
Okay.
13 years ago. It was one of the first things we had to do when I was on the city council too. And I actually had to argue and convince council members to vote for, to approve this. And it's like, you shouldn't even have to vote on this. We're out of business without these panels. And like I said, again, you guys are great, but I'm mostly venting. Thank you.
Do we have any questions or comments from the council?
Just a rough notion of the cost of 4B. Excuse me, I need my glasses, 8B. Just a rough idea.
It's on here, it's the 33,000, right? It's, yeah.
Yes.
$33,080.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So the question was asked of me, can we do it in portions?
No.
We can't because it's a one-piece unit. And so there's 84 screens in one unit. If I replace the first 14 in one or the first 20 in one, I'm putting so much strain on those that way it will literally blow out all the other ones and they'll fail almost instantly. So we have to do the entire units at the same time.
Okay, thank you. I was just mildly curious. I know we have to do this and I would not be against it. My only other question would be, do these things put any pressure on our sewer fund at all?
If we don't do them, they will.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, if you
now.
don't do them, the fines will add a lot of pressure. Matt has been very good at generating cost savings throughout the year. If we don't have enough to cost savings, we will have to dip into reserves, but that'll still be cheaper than paying fines. And then the black eye the city has on it for violating this water permit.
So I have a comment. I'm gonna get on a soapbox like Tom for a second here. I don't know if everybody, well, actually, I know for a fact, most people in the city don't know the full history of our sewer plant going back to the 1960s. But there's quite a bit of documentation available if you're willing to sit down and spend the time on the internet looking for it. And when you go through it, and you look at the reconnaissance report from 1966 talking about the plant, they had very specifically prescribed that even though the plant was functioning strong for the standards and the loads at the time it was under, it very clearly indicated that we needed a full plant replacement by 1980. And unfortunately, our city government in a number of news articles was very loudly opposed to actually doing what was asked of them in the 70s by the State Water Board and the Regional Control Board when they started realizing that not having liners was catastrophic for groundwater. And we kicked and screamed and cried like a toddler about how poor we were instead of taking the time to put aside the money and budget. And the end result of that was that we were forced to do it anyway in the 70s. And we missed out on grant opportunities that were handed to us on a silver platter. And we had many other jurisdictions in the state, including other small communities, try to help us, and we refused. We thought we could win the battle. And in our fight, we wasted a lot of money, and then we continued to make cheap decisions. And in those cheap decisions, when we rebuilt the plant in the 1970s, we did not follow any of the requirements that we were asked to do, including where we were going to actually disperse the processed material. And so we ended up discharging into creeks when we were specifically intended to have a no discharge plant, among other things, including not incorporating the very specific technologies we were required to incorporate. And rather than take accountability and own our decisions and be accountable to the fact that we made cheap decisions and we went cheap on the plant, we tried to fully place the blame on the engineering team that designed the plant to the specifications we gave them. And that resulted in even more litigation and fighting and wasted money and us getting nowhere before finally we ended up in yet more litigation with the neighboring property owner who was receiving that discharge into their springs and harming their organic farm. That property owner, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, just like the city in litigation, really only came out of that settlement getting, less than $100,000 of value while they had to pay their lawyers like we did. And then we were forced all over again, and Tom knows all about this, forced all over again to go out and build another plant. And, that fight went through all the 80s and the 90s and into the early 2000s before finally in 2008, we've got this nice new plant that we had to pay nearly $10 million to put in. And now we have a choice going forward. We can be fiscally responsible and we can bite the bullet when we need to put in the technology we need to and trust our operators and listen when someone says there's a problem, or we can be dismissive and we cannot be accountable to our past and our future and to our kids and our grandkids. And if we ever want this issue to go away or get better, it's very important that everybody at home hearing this takes this message very seriously, because I don't know who's going to be on council after me or Carolyn or Larry or Kim and Sean. And while today you may have a council that understands the implications and the history and takes this very seriously, I hope everybody at home can just listen to my little rant for a second here and understand that the expenses we paid today are our savings tomorrow, and they're us doing the right thing for our neighbors and those who come after us. And so if you're ever going to sit up in this seat, please understand how important this is to listen to anybody who says, I see something and I'm saying something. So I'll get off my soapbox and let you proceed, Madam Vice Mayor, but I just wanted to make sure I got that out there.
If I may, one of the big rules in utilities is it costs money to save money.
Yes.
Right, Kim, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I go to that property once every couple of weeks and I start fires, so.
Legally, of course,
Legal fires.
legal reasons.
And, I was actually trying to buy the property from Alan Edwards. He's the owner. But he's got a lot of stipulations about, anyhow. He's a pretty nice guy. He just reacted after many problems. And
He was very reasonable for a very long time before it got to the point it did.
yeah, so as Trinity said, public needs to remember this, because even Ron Walker may be gone, and along with the city council. So it's good that the city has that institutional knowledge Thank you for your talk, Trinity.
Okay, may I have a motion on this item?
I keep taking them all. You guys go for it.
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, we need to do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Burris,
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hilberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCauley,
Aye.
Mayor Loman.
Aye.
Fantastic, it passes, thank you. All right, the final item on council business tonight is the city manager's performance evaluation and merit-based compensation adjustment. Connor, what do you have for us? I know it's just a receive and file, so.
I'm actually going to ask you to just vote to approve.
Okay.
This is just a public disclosure from our December meeting. The council agreed to amend the city manager's contract. And let me make sure I'm reporting this correctly. It's right in front of me. The council agreed to approve a one-time cost of effectively a one-time cost of living increase of 3.67% and an increase to the city manager's vehicle allowance from 400 to 450 per year. So this was voted on and disclosed at after a closed session in December, but nobody was there. So we're doing it again in the interests of transparency and documentation. And if I could get a roll call vote from the council on this contract amendment, I would appreciate it.
Do we need a motion or just a vote?
Motion and a vote.
Motion to receive
Okay.
and file.
All right, can I have a motion, please?
Move to receive and file.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Burris,
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hilberg,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCauley,
Aye.
Mayor Loman.
Aye.
Thank you, council, for that. And while we're here, I think it is worth noting that the council concluded the city manager's performance evaluation in January, expressed their gratitude for his performance. And this is not a new, this is not a change to his contract, but it did result in a merit increase. So that is the other part of this agenda item, but we don't need to take any action on that.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, we're moving on to good of the order. Kim, you got anything for us this evening?
Very briefly, when we have an event like Winterfest or 3rd of July, I would like to see in the contract a deposit put down so that when the event is over, the person putting on the event has 30 days to remove the banner that's over the street on West Church Street.
Yeah, I'll take the heat on that one. I assumed when talking to them, they were going to come and take their banner down. I went ahead and approved their refunded deposit and they still haven't. So I've had multiple conversations with them as well as staff about getting that done.
All right, Larry?
Several months ago on the good of the order, I had suggested that we do some planning and rename that street behind the VFW American Legion Hall, Ed Marson Drive or Ed Marson Way or something like that. And nothing has really happened about that. I realize we have a lot of other priorities, but that one to me is a priority. So I'd like to see us move forward on that and, you know, update the databases or put up a sign or whatever. And then the second thing is that I know our roundabout sign is down for the 3rd time. And last time around, I mentioned that this is an opportunity for us to make that sign more meaningful to downtown. And I know that this doesn't take council action, but I'm hoping that we have an image of North Main Street on that sign and some words that say something like historic Colfax, not just the name Colfax, because I think it's both misleading and it doesn't tell anybody anything. Doesn't even tell them we have a downtown.
Yeah, I'll poll council once I get the proofs up and make sure everybody's happy with it before we pull the trigger on putting the stickers on the sign. And the Ed Marson Way, I've talked to Kathy about it. That would be a non-official street, so we can put up a sign. It's actually on a laundry list of things to do. But it hasn't been forgotten.
Okay. Thank you.
Trinity?
So I've actually got to piggyback on Larry's item there. one thing I think we're overdue for, especially since we've had major rotation of the council members since we last did this, is a prioritization meeting for basically council initiatives or things that we're working on as a city. So if we could set up a workshop, or similar to how we do our budget workshop, just to go through and list out what our priorities are over the next 2 years, and go through set priorities so that we can help staff understand, when we're expecting to work on things. So it's not here, we're just throwing jello at you to see what sticks. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I want to go through the whole list, and it may take a couple hours, but I think that would be really helpful for everybody. So our expectations are aligned with reality and not some, fantastical notion of how quick we think we can get things done. That's all I had.
Your social calendar update for the week. You have a garden club meeting on Friday. If you're interested in joining our garden club, which is a national award-winning garden club. You have a flea market on Saturday. The Colfax Elementary School PTA is having a fundraiser on the 18th over at the school, and it is the Chavitos Taco Truck, also known as Mi Ranchito. So they will be here on the 18th. On the 23rd, you have a fundraiser at El Tapatio for the 3rd of July fireworks. And we have our first trivia night happening on the 25th at 6:30, happening upstairs at Basement Pizza on Main Street. So there's your social calendar for the month. All right, Connor, you got anything for us?
No, nothing from the city attorney.
Ron?
I just want to thank council and staff and the community for my first year here. It's been fun, exciting, and very busy.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on anything we mentioned in good of the order? No? All right, then we are adjourned.
Yeah, don't worry, I didn't have anything.
Oh, Sean, damn it. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm really bad at this when you're not sitting here.
Okay, I didn't have anything. Thank you.